you're tired of reading about
What is up? We are back at Black in the building. Man. What is going on? What is going on? You already know I'm going to hit y'all with it. Did Jesus come back? Ah, damn, man. The nigga didn't come back. So all that that shit didn't bring him back? Damn. That's fucked up, man. All that. None of that shit brought him back. Jesus, I never did. That didn't bring him back, huh? Fuck out of here. Shout out to everybody at the Core Plantation right now. Shout out to all the people that's handling business, making a way out of no way, doing what the fuck you need to do to survive. Shout out to all of the people that's at the Core Plantation right now that is trying to become an introvert so you don't have to slap the shit out of one of those European dominant white society motherfuckers. And shout out to all you black motherfuckers, melanated, highly favored people that have become introverted so you don't slap the shit out of one of those Negro peeing ass niggas that you work with that act like they for you when really they flip mode is the squad every chance they get. Yay. Shout out to everybody that's handling business and doing what the fuck they need to do to survive. Shout out to all the people that's begging at the goddamn Core Plantation. Come on a job just to beg off of motherfuckers. There's plenty of y'all motherfuckers out there. Hey. When the beggars come around the way. Shout out to all you motherfuckers that's out there trying to build a legacy for you and your family and standing in your purpose and handling your business and not trying to, I would say, be negative or a negative Nancy towards your own people and take that energy, keep that same energy with those white folks. Fact. Shout out to all my begging ass motherfuckers, like I said again, that stay begging. And shout out to all you sucker ass niggas who think that somebody's gonna come save you when ain't nobody gonna come save you. So shout out to y'all. Shout out to all the people that know that just because you go to school, that doesn't mean you're going to get a good job and your life is going to be grand. Shout out to all my black folks that's out there fighting anti-black racism and understand what racism, white supremacy means to you and understands that it's not a game. And if you're not trying to replace the system of racism, white supremacy and establish a system of justice, then I don't know why the fuck you here. Shout out to all my women that's out there selling pussy hole. And if you can, you would take your pussy off your body and put it in a box and put an Amazon sticker on it and mail it across the world. Y'all motherfuckers would be just like John. If I could mail my pussy right to you, I would. Looking at Shout out to all y'all motherfuckers that's out there. Shout out to all the motherfuckers that understands that, you know, we're doing this COVID-19 AKA pandemic, AKA scandemic. You got to get your weight up and handle your business the best way you know how. Stop shaming motherfuckers that's at the Core Plantation. Nigga, I work at the Core Plantation. Fuck. Can't stand motherfuckers that's like, you work there, I don't see how you can do that. Motherfuckers tell me, I'm like, well, nigga, how else are you going to pay your bills? Unless you got a business. You got a business? Motherfucker was like, nah, well then, nigga, you can't be looking at me like I'm crazy for going to a Core Plantation every day. That's how I've been socialized. I'm trying to undo the hard wiring as we speak. Hey. And if you are listening to me, please listen to me at the Core Plantation. Take a look around you. Look to your left. Look to your right. Look at all your corporate plantation co-workers. And look at what they are destined to do. Just kind of look at the trajectory of what they got going on. A lot of them They come to work just to tell on you. They come to work just to see what you doing. Shout out to all my black, melanated brothers and sisters that understand no matter what you can do, you will never please the dominant white society. That's a fact. It doesn't matter what you do, unless you replicate and act just like them. Shout out to my melanated brothers and sisters that understand that every other racial group will conformist, go along to get along, motherfucker, to be at the court plantation, just like you. Motherfuckers waving their Puerto Rican flag, Dominican flag, Cuban flag, all this other shit. But when they get to the dominant white society court plantation, how do they act? Just like them. And shout out to all my melanated brothers and sisters that are getting books like The Fall of America by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, the most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Black Labor, White Wealth, World's Great Men of Color by J.A. Rogers. Hey. And you know what? I can never forget Black Labor, White Wealth by the Honorable Dr. Claude Anderson. That's a fact. Take that $600 that you got from your stimulus check and go support a black business. Do what you need to do, man, because it's very important that we support each other. Because if we don't support each other, how are anybody else going to support us? And the reason why I say that is because I think a lot of the times we get so caught up in supporting every other business and doing what everybody else is supposed to be doing, or what we see everybody else doing, but we won't support our own. So it's very important that we support our own. We're going to get into a lot of shit today. We're going to talk about the mental health of anti-black racism. We're going to talk about the mental health of what we are today versus the mental health and the mental testicular fortitude that our ancestors went through during the antebellum periods and the periods of when they were building this great but wicked nation. And we're going to talk about how we can bridge that gap and start to be mentally tough during these times of racism, white supremacy, because it's never going anywhere. And if you're not trying to replace it, get the fuck out of my face. Hey. and before I cut off the music, let me get a photo about it. Yeah, anybody, yep, sold to the next sucker. That's how women auction off their pussy hole on OfferUp, Wayfair. That's just what I need. Any other platform where a motherfucker can pay for some pussy hole. Man. Another Sunday, another not so fun day. Oh, man. Let's get into it, man. Let's talk about the mental health. Now, it's so funny that we always are addressing mental health. We are always talking about how black folks need mental health. They already got all these black folks campaigning for mental health. Now, my question to you is, did the black folk during the antebellum period and during the real slave period where they was hanging niggas, tarring and feathering them, lynching them, was they running around talking about, oh, I need to go see a therapist? No, they was not. Stop. They was not doing that. But all of a sudden, motherfuckers want to go run. And these times are not as hard as the times that black folk went through back in the day. That's because black folk had a code of conduct. I think we all should read the Maximum Compensatory Counter-Racist Code of Ethics by Neely Fuller Jr. Because I always tell people, man, I'm still learning. I had somebody ask me the other day, like, hey, man, you got some books? I read them in the books. And I was like, look, man, I'm still learning. So I claim to know nothing. No, I don't know. That's exactly what the podcast is called. Because no, I don't know. I don't claim to have known anything. Just because I've read a couple of books or knocked a few books down don't mean I know something. I know what the books have taught me, and it's taught me to be more introverted when you get to the core plantation, because as Dr. Claude Anderson teaches us, a job is meant to maintain you. It's not meant to make you rich. You will not get rich working at a 9-to-5 job. So you need to juice that job for what it's worth. If you're getting 401k, get that 401k. If you're getting stock, get that stock. Don't be at that job 20 years and you ain't got no damn stock. You ain't got no 401k. So if they decide to cut the string and be like, all right, nigga, we don't need you no more. Nigga, you can take that bread and go do something else with it. And I think that's what we need to learn to do. That's the mental stability that we need to have. And we need to stop thinking that because white folks are going to go see a therapist, that we need to go see a therapist. Let me tell you something. Most black folk ain't got no goddamn money to see no therapist. And back in the day, they didn't have time. They was too busy getting their ass whooped to go see a motherfucking therapist. And getting hung and getting raped and robbed and pillaged. If you read that book, Slavery by Another Name by Douglas Blackman, he talks about how motherfuckers just walk up the street and the motherfucker see you and be like, nigga, you owe me money. You're like, dude, I don't even know who you are. And they'll go get the magistrate, which is the judge, which he's white and he's on code with them. And then guess what they'll do? Guilty, nigga. And then guess what? Now you got to go work on their plantation for 10 years or 12 years of slave type shit. So why do y'all think that it's worse now than it was then? No, it's a lot better now compared to what it was then. I just think that we have taken on the moniker of go see a therapist, man. You know what I'm saying? Go see a therapist. Look, sometimes talking to another black folk, a black person could be your therapist. All y'all got to do is just be on the same page and vibrate. If y'all can raise each other's vibration, I'm telling you right now, it'll change your narrative. It'll change how you look and see and view things. I just think a lot of people, we've been around the dominant white society so long that, you know, we so used to just mimicking and doing what they do. And stop getting mad at other folks because they have shocked or surprised you. I'm talking about other racial groups. Y'all already know what these other racial groups do when they get on the dominant white society jobs. They act like them. So why does it surprise you? Look, these things should never surprise you. Attitude always reflects leadership. That's why most corporate plantations is always a bunch of fuck shit and dysfunctional bullshit going on, and it's order out of chaos, and they like and allow a lot of that shit to go on to keep everybody at the bottom acting a goddamn fool, while the people at the top, they chilling with their family. They're not even worried about the motherfuckers at the bottom. So why worried about them? That should be your goal. That should be exactly what you're thinking about. Why you see all this chaos and people rioting, and now that black folk, let me tell you something about black folk. We not done. We just been sitting back and watching. And I'm going to repeat this again. When you at your corporate plantation, notice ain't nobody came up to you and talked about the U.S. Capitol riots. Nobody has said anything. And if they do, they distance themselves from them people like they're the racist people and you know, on TV, and the person that's in front of you is not. Oh, yeah, those are Trump supporters and all that. And always my question is, and your question should be to people, okay, so who are the less of the two evils? Donald Trump, boldly, verbally, bluntly, don't fuck with niggas. Joe Biden, covertly, is the architect behind the 94 crime bill that locked up over 550,000 black folk for mandatory minimums and drug laws and shit like that, like weed. So who's the less of the two evils? The career politician that's been doing it for 40 years, or a motherfucker that's an actor that just happened to win the most highest seat in the United States of America Incorporated? They're one and the same. Just like when Trump I'm gonna lock Hillary up when I get into office. And when he got in office, he didn't lock her up. She just went on about her way. She just kind of vanished. But my question to all y'all, why all this shit is going on, why is nobody talking about Ghislaine Maxwell? Because if you look up Ghislaine Maxwell, they opened up those files. Al Gore's indicated, Bill Clinton is indicated. Oh, it's a lot of motherfuckers that was going to Jeffrey Epstein's island and fucking with them little girls. So, but we still talking about Bill Cosby and R. Kelly. Because y'all know, look, people need to understand this. They're going to always go at your people and make you go at your people. I was watching that this movie, One Night in Miami, with where it's about Muhammad Ali, Sam Cooke, Jim Brown, and Malcolm X. Now, this is what I didn't like about it. And I couldn't even watch all the way through. It was okay until the first couple of scenes. First of all, they didn't have a foundational black American playing Betty Shabazz. That's one. Two, the nigga playing Malcolm X looked like a goddamn Puerto Rican. And three, here we go again. I am so sick and tired of all these movies portraying the Honorable Elijah Muhammad as some bullshit motherfucker who just running around, fucking all these women. Look, first of all, I don't give a fuck how many kids he had and how many women he had. Let me tell you why I don't care. You notice nobody never talks about John F. Kennedy and all the bitches he was fucking. Nobody ever talks about white people and all the fuckery they got going on. But when it comes to the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, it's always some fuckery attached to it. Because, and let me tell you what I think why. Because the man was so great. He was so smart. He was so intelligent. He was so business-minded and had so much business acumen on deck that them white folk couldn't understand, like, what the fuck is going on? We got to find something. And what they will do is they will use you and have you put on the garb of honesty and integrity when really you're wearing the garb of deception. And you go in there, you seek and destroy, and then you sow discord amongst your own people, being used as a tool by the white dominant society because they know how to tap into your raw core emotion. And I don't like that. And the opening scene was bashing the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And after that, I stopped watching it. I'm tired of that shit, man. I'm tired of us always going in on the Nation of Islam, Minister Louis Farrakhan, Honorable Elijah Muhammad. I'm tired of them always trying to suggest that the Nation of Islam has something to do with Malcolm X, when clearly if you watch Who Killed Malcolm X, it was the dominant white society and regular Muslim brothers and sisters that were working in tangent together to execute our brother Malcolm X. And they had him hid in New Jersey the whole fucking time, the man who shot and killed him, and put 2 Muslim brothers in prison for no reason. They won't talk about that, but they will sure put it in a movie. Now, I got Regina King, I guess was the producer or whatever, or the director, but those writers are wrong for that. And I'm tired of motherfuckers doing it. See, that's what I like about the Jackson family. When Oprah did the devil's work and interviewed those people after she knew they was lying, the Jackson family's like, okay, y'all want to play that game? Okay, we gonna shit on you, Oprah, because you ain't shit. And we know you didn't really like our brother anyway. And we're gonna sue HBO, and we're gonna win. Because y'all know good and goddamn well, y'all lied. And I feel like that's what the Nation of Islam need to start doing. Y'all need to stop doing that shit, man. And the reason why I bring this to y'all attention is because we spend so much time shitting on each other. All the white folk do is take notes and laugh. That's why, let me tell you something. I'm going to tell anybody. Go read this book, The Burglary. It tells you all you need to know about J. Edgar Hoover and the FBI. And let me tell you something. They waited and they watched and they waited and they waited and they waited on Brother Malcolm X and the most honorable Elijah Muhammad to get into it so they can separate the two, so they can tear down the nation. This is what they do. It's in this book. Oh, and by the way, white people discovered those files, COINTELPRO by J. Edgar Hoover, and they put the shit out there. Where are those white people at? See, they told us what was being said when we weren't in the room. Where are the rest of those white folk at? Not Jane Elliott and fucking Tim Wise, what my mama and my daddy told me. I don't want to hear all that. Tell us what's being said when we're not in the room. And this book tells you all about it. And the reason why I'm talking about it is because as soon as I start watching the movie, and you could tell it was a scene with Malcolm X and her, and then they mentioned, this is what I didn't like either. Then all of a sudden they mentioned the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan's name. Well, why isn't Louis gonna do it? And it's like, y'all motherfuckers is out of line, man. And this is what I mean by we take so much time to shit on each other that we don't even magnify and glorify the good deeds and good work that we do. And we start calling out other racial groups. See, other racial groups don't call each other out like that, but we do. You know, even we need to start settling our problems, our differences behind closed doors, man. Stop airing out a lot of shit on these platforms. I get it. We in our emotions and we in our feelings, but if you notice, you don't never hear Bill Gates being aired out by some white person that's in a position of power like him at all. No, they're behind closed doors on code, and they're in front of the closed doors, open on code. We need to establish a code of conduct and stop fighting, airing each other out. The jealous and envy is almost at an all-time high, man, and they socialize us that way. You know, you got a lot of parents that's jealous of their children. You got a lot of children that's jealous of other children because their parents have been instilled in them confidence. Their parents have been instilled in them like, hey, man, you're melanated. You got superpowers, man. You got a talent. You just got to tap into the raw talents inside of you. But I think a lot of us have been socialized to go to school to do what? Get a good job. So you can do what? Pay back into the system. Know this. Like I said, man, look, man, I'm not here to bash black churches, but I'm going to tell you from my perspective, I ain't never went to no black church that's ever taught me about black empowerment, about the dominant white society, and taught me about Dr. Francis Cress Welsing and taught me about Dr. Claude Anderson. I didn't start learning about them till 7, 8 years ago. That's not a good thing. And you got a black church on every corner, just like a liquor store. But the only way, to me, the only way you can get that true knowledge is if you go to the Nation of Islam, the Moorish Science Temple, the Hebrew Israelite brothers and sisters. They'll teach you, but you're not learning that shit at no black church. Sometimes I feel like we spend too much time in the process of worship that we're not trying to gain no type of knowledge. That's the only thing that I'm saying. And the reason why is because as I'm reading this book, The Destruction of a Black Civilization, it just talks about how they, like, I got a book about Queen Nzinga, but it's 2 books that I've already read about her, Before the Mayflower and The Destruction of a Black Civilization. And Queen Nzinga's brother was a slave trader, so she didn't really fuck with him like that. She played her part, but she was kind of looking at him like, my nigga, you for the bullshit. And then when the nigga died, the Portuguese and the Dutch and all of them was waiting because they wanted to take over Angola. And what people don't understand is Queen Nzinga, a woman, was like, nah, y'all not fucking taking over shit over here. Fuck out of here. So they put out a bunch of lies that she killed her old brother. Like, the book is crazy, man. And I think the thing that we need to understand is white folks wait for us to tear each other up, and then they just come in at the end whenever you... It's like if you go watch Next Day Air. If you watch Next Day Air, at the end, Don Faison, he just walks out with the bag and everything because everybody shot and killed each other. And that's how the dominant white society looks at black folk. Well, they're going to kill each other and fight with each other anyway. Why? Because that's what they do. They fight and they do this bullshit. This is what they do. So I'm telling you right now, man, the mental health of anti-black racism is at an all-time high. Because let me tell you something. They're going to make you feel like, well, we're killing you because you guys are unruly. You guys are mentally ill. So we got to kill y'all. When that's not the case, because I was looking at this brother, I think it's Patrick Warren, and he had a mental illness problem. They called, in the first day, a mental illness officer, police officer came out, talked him down, chilled, took him, got him checked out, and he was good. The next day, another police officer comes out, shoots him, and kills him. But this is the shit that we deal with every day. I don't understand why people think that it's any different. Whether the brother was mentally ill or not, when the police comes to your house, let me tell you something. They only gonna come so many times before they get ready to shoot and kill a motherfucker. So y'all motherfuckers can think whatever the fuck y'all want, but let me tell you something. Y'all gonna get enough of calling the motherfucking police. Stop calling the police. If y'all got a mentally ill person, y'all better learn how to handle them. Because let me tell you something, man. The police is coming to seek and destroy. They're not coming to help y'all niggas out. Now here, man, we about to play some audio of this shit. For real. Let's see.
Call for help to police turned deadly. The family of 52-year-old Patrick Warren called police after they say that he was having some sort of mental health episode. Patrick is seen in this video walking out to the officer with his arms up. Then moments later, you hear gunshots. It's not completely clear what happened based on this video alone, but joining us now are 2 people who can help provide us with some of the details to explain. The son of Patrick Warren Jr., along with family attorney Lee Merritt. Our thanks to both of you. Patrick, want to express our condolences for the loss of your father. Can you just kind of give us a sense of exactly what happened that day?
My dad, he started praising God very loudly in the house, letting us
see, praising God. Don't have a gun, not acting a fool, but praising God.
Know that, hey, I'm in spiritual warfare, and he kept praising God. Eventually, he started getting so loud while he was praising. I stepped in to tell him, hey, Dad, calm down. Something's going on. He let me know it was spiritual and that he needed to praise God because the evil one was coming. Once he started talking like that, I was like, hey, something's going on. Let's reach out to a mental health resource officer that we had spoken to previously. We called for them to actually come out to the house. They never let us know that.
Remember, he said he was praising God real loudly, praising God. Not yelling obscenities, not saying kill Whitey or nothing like that, just saying he was praising God. See what I'm saying?
Dispatch that particular resource officer was no longer available for that day, or that he wouldn't be coming out, or a resource officer altogether wouldn't be coming out. And so we were surprised when a police officer showed up to the house. Once he showed up to the house, I met him at the door. I told him to come in. I let him know that my father was going through something, and please no firearms. He was speaking to my father.
He said, please no firearms. Basically, my father is having a mental episode. That's what I think. So please, no firearms. He's just having a mental episode.
Through the hallway, and my father was inviting, but the officer, he seemed a little hostile. So he asked him to get off the property. Let us know that he didn't have time for it. He doesn't do things like this, and slammed the door and went back outside.
This is exactly why when they requested a mental health specialist and they said no, when that police officer came, I would have been like, if you're not a mental health expert, please just go. Because we don't want no problems. We have to think for our family members. We got to think for anyone around us because they're there to seek and destroy. They're there to kill. These are race soldiers. They don't give a fuck about your mental health problems. They're not trained for that. They police stereotypes. That's it.
From that point, we heard a knock at the door. So my father, after dealing with someone that was hostile, he wanted to actually open the door. So he opened the door, and when he opened the door, we saw an infrared beam on the door, which made me concerned because I'm sitting in the front. I'm holding a 6-month-old, and I have my brother in the front as well. So we're concerned. So we all kind of run to took this little one down. We run to the door. My mom is now running to the door, and our family friends, we're all running here. And that's kind of what you see transpire on the tape. You'll see that at the infrared beam out, he tased my father. And at the point of tasing my father, we were trying to see why things were escalating so fast. So we're yelling, we're screaming. It's a lot going on. And my father proceeded to get up off the ground, and that's when he shot him. We were trying to figure out, why would you shoot him? And we're just looking for answers.
See, first of all, let me tell you something. Sometimes what we have to do is tackle our family members. Bob them upside the head. It's rather you do it than allow them, because they're going to kill them. And we got to stop calling the police unless we are ready for someone to go meet Jesus Christ, because that's what's going to happen every single fucking time. Stop putting your trust in the hands of the dominant white society that they are going to be moral in their actions when dealing with black folk. They are not the moral compass of black folk. They have been the most immoral, untrustworthy, divisive, vile, vicious, deceitful, backbiting, devilish, satanic motherfuckers I've ever seen in the history of the United States of America Incorporated. So why do y'all think they're going to do anything different?
And Lee, at this point, you're not only calling for the firing of that officer, but also the arrest of that officer. Has anyone from the police department reached out to you or to your family to explain why this officer was sent alone to a call that was about a mental health crisis?
No, and I'm sorry, Pat. They instead, we spoke with the prosecutor for the region. The region is Bell County. The prosecutor there is named Henry Garza, and he's responsible for prosecuting this case, for issuing arrest warrants. And we've encouraged him yesterday.
Well, he's not going to prosecute that race soldier. They're not going to fire him, and they don't give a fuck. Straight up.
To speak with the family about the evidence that they have. Apparently, he didn't even have the video evidence that was available to the media. And so we're working with him now to make sure that he has all the information that he needs to issue an arrest warrant for Reynaldo Contreras, which is Contreras, which is the name of the officer, Reynaldo Contreras. Yes, we believe that an arrest warrant should be issued for him immediately.
Reynaldo Contreras, Latino, a.k.a. Dominant White Society.
Based on the probable cause evidence that's circulating the internet now. And we of course want Killeen PD and the city of Killeen to investigate what policies and procedures they have in place to deal with mental health calls. A call for help from a family should never result in a man being murdered on his front lawn.
And Patrick, what are the next steps for you and for your family? Do you plan on pursuing any sort of legal action against the police department?
Absolutely. That's why we have Lee Merritt here. We want to make sure this never happens to anyone else again. I have a special needs little brother, and I just I think, like, what if it was him? You know, what if someone called the police on him and him needing medical attention or mental health attention? What if that was him? So we definitely plan to pursue
And if that was him, they would have shot his black ass too. Trust and believe you me. They don't give a fuck about that.
this, and I'll actually let Lee Merritt take care of all of that. And I'm hoping, we're able to get justice for my father, because that's the main thing here. Is I never want this to happen to anyone else. I never want them to forgive my father, because he didn't deserve this.
And going forward, you were talking about your brother. Would you ever call the police again for help?
I can't say as of right now I would.
I would have been like, hell no. Why? I just gonna have to deal with the mental episode because I don't want them killing any more of my family members. Because that's what's gonna happen.
I don't know who you can.
And let me tell you something before we finish. All they're gonna do is police reform, and then they're gonna get a grant for $100,000 so they can have more mental health police officers. That's all they're gonna do. They're not gonna do anything different. They would have already done it already.
In the event that your loved one is going through something and not like themselves, for help, I don't know. I don't trust it. So I personally wouldn't. We would just try to deal with the crisis, the best way we would know how, but it's not an option for me at this point.
Right. And Lee, what are the options? I mean, we talk about the war on mental health. Talk to us a little bit about the importance of having someone who's equipped specifically to handle these types of calls, to accompany perhaps police officers for the safety not only of the officer, but also the person who's involved. And if
an officer that's equipped is a black officer that's been raised around other melanated black folk that know how to deal with other melanated black folk, that is not going to seek, destroy, and kill other melanated black folk. That's all it is. That's all you need. That's it. Black folk need to police black folk. That's all that needs to be said. That's it. You don't need white folk that don't deal with black folk policing black folk. That's it. That's simple. That's all it is. It's just they don't want to say that shit because everybody trying to be politically correct, and I get it, but that's the truth.
Police department doesn't have those kinds of resources now, how should these kinds of situations be handled?
And this case was a perfect example because in this case, you had a good cop and a bad cop. On the first day, a good cop, a resource officer with mental health training, was dispatched to the family's home the day before Patrick was murdered. He spoke with Patrick. He built up a rapport. He engaged him in a way that was not hostile or violent. It wasn't like your normal police officer. And he was able to get Patrick to some help. And Patrick went to the hospital with him voluntarily. And then the following day, when Patrick began to deteriorate again, the family called for additional help. And this time they got the bad cop. And that's what we don't need. There's policies like the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act before Congress right now that says we need more resources for those good cops. We need more resources.
There is no good cops in my perspective. If there are, then put those bad cops on blast. Put them on blast and be like, man, y'all know who y'all are. It's just like working at the court plantation. Well, I'm a good director. I'm a good manager. Right. Okay, right. But attitude reflects leadership, though. So if you got a whole bunch of motherfucking white, racist, anti-black racist race soldiers killing black folk, that's a reflection of the people that are in charge. So that's never going to change.
For mental health workers to respond to families in crisis appropriately. We need to invest in additional money into healthcare resources to meet a healthcare crisis. 20% of Americans have undiagnosed mental health conditions.
What did I tell y'all? Mental health. Now, my question is to you, Mr. Merritt, and everyone else. Where the fuck was mental health at when Harriet Tubman and them was trying to escape slavery and getting raped and lynched and robbed? Where was it? What you think Harriet Tubman was doing when niggas was like, oh man, I'm trying to escape freedom too, Harriet. I'm rolling with you, Underground Railroad. Then the nigga stopped, and Harriet like, well, what you stopping for? Man, I gotta go see my therapist, man. I ain't really trying to escape my master because he got a therapist for me and I could just talk about it. And then nigga, what? And that's why Harriet Tubman was getting ready to start bopping niggas and shooting niggas with that motherfucking gun. Like, nigga, what you want? Nigga, you either go or you're getting shot. Nigga, what the fuck you talking about? Nigga, oh, well, I want to get free, but I got to see my therapist, man. Because look, everybody got mental block at one point in their life. Everybody have mental health issues, trauma from being raised incorrectly or being socialized the wrong way, dealing with the system of racism and white supremacy. If you want to really want to get on some mental health shit, I think the dominant white society has the biggest mental health issues because these are the same people that'll smile with you, fire you, talk shit about you, laugh, sow discord amongst you and your other black melanated peers, and then and play the racial showcasing, confusing game where they give one nigga the nigga trinkets, and then they make you model the behavior of that conformist telling about the gun line, Haywood Shepherd, Steven from Django, motherfucking coon ass motherfucker. They'll do that shit to you all day long. And then when you don't want to conform and be like that person in this society, you get shunned. You get looked at like, you dumb, man. You should just been like that. I'm not saying quit your job and walk off your job and be like, fuck y'all niggas. What I'm saying is they are the biggest problems of when it comes to mental health. Maybe they need therapy themselves, but I'm not talking about therapy like they sit down and talk to somebody. I'm talking about therapy like give us our motherfucking reparations so we can get the fuck away from y'all. That's what I'm saying.
And like he said, even in this household, this is a situation that may arise again. His 23-year-old little brother has Down syndrome, and law enforcement hasn't been taught to engage someone like his little brother or black people in the community who, like everyone else in America, suffer from mental health issues. And so we need to take a realistic approach to reforming police that necessarily requires investment.
Reform. We always talk about reform. They're not gonna look. This is what they mean by reform. They're gonna put that officer in another department where you can't see him for a while, and he's gonna look. He's gonna be right back working for the department, just like Darren Wilson, just like Officer Yanez, who shot and killed Philando Castile and damn near killed his daughter on Facebook Live. I don't see nobody talk about that shit. How many black folk have gotten shot and killed at the hands of white officers? And you would say there's no problem, just like the U.S. Capitol. Now they're trying to go around and save face and round up all these white folk that were breaking in the Capitol. There was a U.S. Olympian that's from Las Vegas, Nevada, that was at the U.S. Capitol. There was all kinds of people all over the United States of America Incorporated that was at the U.S. Capitol. You know why? Because you need to understand, your average corporate plantation supervisor is a part of the dominant white society and is for anti-black racism. Trust me. They are for it. Don't let these people fool you just because they can yo and talk with you and cut a jig and dance and listen to R&B and hip hop. That doesn't mean that they for you. That just means that they know how to put on the garb of deception. That's all that is. They wear the garb of deception around you, have you feeling like, oh yeah, they cool. And then when push come to shove, they go with their own. They stay on code with their people. That's why you have to understand that you have no allies, you have no friends in this system. The only friend you have is the people that look like you, and even the people that look like you might be an agent provocateur. You know what I mean? In this destruction of a black civilization, I forgot what they call it. It's like Caucasian consensus or some shit. Basically, like agent provocateurs and shit. And it just talks about how they go in, they seek, they destroy, they co-opt situations. And then they have black people, no diss to Lee Merritt, but Lee Merritt and Ben Crump, they always pop up out of nowhere. They're like the new Reverend Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton. They just pop up out of nowhere. And it's only certain cases because Casey Goodson Jr., why are we not talking about them? That's because that lady went and got a real attorney and not no bullshitting settlement lawyer that's just going to settle and get your little money and get the fuck on.
Our healthcare system.
Lee Merritt, Patrick Warren Jr., we thank you so much for sharing your story. Thank you for your time.
Thanks for having me.
Man, that's crazy, man. Well, look, let that be a lesson to y'all, man. Y'all motherfuckers better wake up. Y'all better understand exactly what life is about. If you're not trying to replace the system of racism, white supremacy, I don't know what the fuck you doing. Support black businesses. Think of a black business that you need to work on your motherfucking self. Trust me, there's all types of things that you could be doing. Stop giving all your time to that corporate plantation. I know you're there right now. Like, let me see what I can do to show them that I could just work. So you get that pat on the head. They're going to give you a pat on the head, and they're going to talk shit about you every chance they get in whatever meetings that you're not around. Because they threatened by you anyway. They threatened by your influence. They threatened by your mental, how strong you are, how much you know in and out of the corporate plantation. A lot of people are intimidated by that. So you got to know how to deal with it. Put your focus and energy into you and your household. Don't put it into the rat race of the dominant society that they create. They want everybody in this clown ass rat race and so divided from each other that we can't function with each other. And we let the little petty things get in between us and argue and fight and have disagreements, and a lot of disagreements and shit need to be resolved behind closed doors and not aired out on social media platforms, because all the dominant society do is go get their popcorn. And then there's a lot of hoe ass niggas and messy ass niggas, they like that shit too. They go get the popcorn and be watching too, because people like dysfunction. We have been socialized to like dysfunction. Me personally, I have taught myself to get the fuck away from that shit. Like, I have been taught, like, once I see a lot of dysfunction, or if I see a lot of dysfunction in you, especially at the core plantation, I just kind of bag back. And I just kind of keep to myself, and I get real reserved. Like, why? Because, man, I don't want to take any of that shit home. So I have to mentally condition myself to be like, look, man, leave that shit at the door. Because a lot of dominant white society people and other racial groups, they want you to take that bullshit home. And then you carrying it home while they at home relaxing. So I have learned, like, you know, I hate to agree with Dame Dash, but he's right. A lot of niggas hustle for the weekend. And at this point, I do. You know what I mean? Because any time away from them is time well needed. And we got to remember that, man. Like I said, when any disagreements you have, I remember one time I was at the core plantation, I had a disagreement with a brother, and then I watched everybody kind of watch. So I just stopped arguing with that brother, because I noticed it was entertainment to people, other racial groups. I'm not going to be your entertainment. We're enough of the entertainment on the basketball courts, the tennis courts, the baseball courts, the football fields, TV, rap, R&B. So I don't have time to be their entertainment when there's no need to be. Man, I appreciate everybody listening, subscribing. All right, y'all already know what it is. This is No I Don't Know. Shout out to Noob. All y'all out there. Shout out to Philly, blackandnoble.com, all the black businesses. Go support a black business, man. I just ordered some shit from Tahuti Raw Herbs. Can't wait to get my shit. Y'all niggas need to support black businesses and stop frowning up when you see a person trying to build their brand. And stop niggas try to hide under the guise of constructive criticism when somebody trying to start a black business, when really you just hate. Stop all that shit. Just congratulate the motherfucker, man. Damn. Hey, man, I appreciate everybody listening, subscribing. If you a Sambo guilty nigga, I don't fuck with you. I'm out. Peace.